At the same time, Turkey made some official statement about they're upset that Netanyahu was there because the Israeli state supports terrorism against the Palestinian areas.
Well, that's complete bull crap, by the way. But the backstory on that, by the way, is Hollande asked, again, allegedly, asked Netanyahu not to come, and he showed up anyway. So then, supposedly, only then did Hollande invite Mahmoud Abbas. See, nobody says anything about, including Hollande. He's a hypocrite. If I did not hear that or read that he got up to leave when Netanyahu was going to speak, it's okay for Palestinians to come, right? It's okay for Palestinians, Hamas, to indiscriminately fire missiles into Israel at civilians. That's okay. The hypocrisy of, what you just said, those 3 points, Hollande, Turkish Prime Minister, and not inviting Netanyahu. It's like a microcosm of the way the UN treats Israel versus the way it turns a blind eye to Islamic, not only terrorism, but just the stuff Hamas does. That's unfortunate because here's this unity thing, and what message is Hollande sending if he indeed gets up to leave when Netanyahu is going to speak? That's it's pretty ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it is. I posted on my personal plug here, House Rules with Michael Hausum Facebook page, an article that Mark Stein wrote kind of in response to this. And one of the comments, I pulled out this quote and redid that. And I think this right here is the problem that we have. Let me read what Stein said. And I'll put this, I'll link this article on our blog post as well, which is therightmics.us. Mark Stein, the louder the perpetrators yell Allahu Akbar and rejoice that the Prophet has been avenged, the louder Hollande, Cameron, Obama, and Kerry and the other A-list infidels insist there's no Islam to see here.
Sure. And listen, the reason I asked, this question of you, can this symbolic march have an impact on what happens as it relates to radical Islam? I'm not suggesting, it would be naive, in fact, I put this in the post, completely naive to suggest that this march will curtail terrorist attacks, right? What I'm talking more about is galvanizing, and I think we're starting to see it happen anyway, but not nearly to the degree that it needs to, galvanize public resolve in Europe to stand up against extremism in their respective countries. And again, I'm not just talking about terrorist attacks. I put two terrorist attacks. I put two examples and links in the post this morning. 2011. Listen to this. I did not know this, although I'm not surprised. Islamic extremists demanded the establishment of 3 separate states within Great Britain, which would operate entirely outside British law. That's astounding, as is, and I've talked about this a bit in the past, and I've just said it in terms of France has ceded entire neighborhoods to Muslims. These are called no-go zones. There are hundreds of them across the country, and they are off limits to non-Muslims. France has done this to itself. Germany has, Great Britain has, and to lesser degrees, many of the other European countries have as well. So I think my question is more about that. At what point will the majority of the people of these countries, go Peter Finch from the movie Network and open the window and say, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore, while they still maybe can? That's what I wonder about.
That's a really good question. It is the equivalent of spending years and years and years and years putting seeds in the ground, and then a bunch of people standing around looking at that ground after the rains come going, whoa, hey, look at all this stuff growing up. How did this happen? We got to do something about this.
Dude, you reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow. That's, what, Mike? That is the question. It turns out the Arab street is incredibly explosive. It's just that we're finding out now it's in like the 11th arrondissement or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I mean, if you get to the point in your country where you have Muslim extremist groups demanding three separate states within your country, dude, that toothpaste has been out of the tube a hell of a long time. And, you know this stuff. You and I admire the hell out of Stein and his books, and there are others, Londonistan and so forth. These seeds been growing for a hell of a long time throughout Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's their 9/11. Maybe who knows? But in and of itself, that's no big deal if they suffer the same amnesia as have liberals in this country.
Right.
Because
Well,
it's
you
the
know
same
what?
thing.
It's funny. Even if you say 9/11, I mean, our country. Think about, with Josh Earnest, thinking about it being our 9/11. That when he receives his daily marching orders, when he's got his little talking points, when he's got his prepared answers to go for a press conference, that in the margins is written, the cover sheet, there's a little sticky note on the back of his glasses, the teleprompter has that framed all around, that the one thing he cannot do is to say war on terror or Islamic terrorists.
Oh,
So even your question, is this their 9/11? Think about what's happened in the last decade-ish in our country
Exactly.
with regard to how we've handled our own 9/11.
Exactly right. And I predict, and every once in a while, as I say that, I believe I've seen kind of little snippets of this. There will come a time when it will be politically incorrect on the left to even say 9/11, because the narrative will be that that's homophobic, and as you and I've talked, there is no such thing, because phobic is an irrational fear. But I bet you there'll come a time when that will be viewed, that term, as being anti-Islamic and suggesting that all Muslims are terrorists, and that's how crazy things have gotten on the left.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right, man. You are exactly right. All right, Mike, we are just about out of time here. Jessica, how much time do we have? Not very much, it looks like. Well, you have been listening to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. We'll be back in a few minutes. We've got another half hour. If you'd like to call in, please do. We'd love to take your calls. 412-567-6879. For Miller and I, we'll be back after the news. Talk to you in just a moment. Well, Michael, this may be an opportunity to do live our back and forth banter, because I just got a note from our good friend Travis that says that he can still hear us breathing and clicking. So this may be an opportunity for you to do your interpretive dance while I play my lute.
I think I'd have to get up on the countertop. My tap shoes are not available. They are in storage. But interpretive dance, yeah.
Because what I typically do for my interpretive dance, I've got my shiny gold jazz shoes, but those are special. On the other hand, I think an occasion like this, where it's really kind of a first time out, I think that my black jazz shoes, maybe you can do your didgeridoo rhythms while I do the interpretive dance.
You know what? Seriously, well, I don't know how seriously, because, but back in the day, the whole moonwalk thing, dude, did you ever think, I mean, first of all, I'd see him do that. I mean, I'd stare, and I can't figure it out. I mean, it does look like Michael Jackson defied gravity. I always thought it would have been cool back in the day to be able to moonwalk.
Yeah, you know what? I was never able to do it, man.
I never tried. Did you ever try?
Yeah, totally. Now, my junior high son, Jack, he can moonwalk perfectly.
Wow. Does he do the glove thing? And
I don't know. I don't know if he does the glove thing. The problem with that is that the moonwalk, in terms of its ability to affect one's consciousness and meditation levels, it's ineffective. Whereas that's why I like the interpretive dance part. Because I think interpretive dance is more communicative of eternal and universal truths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which makes me wonder, do you think, is a conservative, an arch conservative, even able to do interpretive dance?
Oh, absolutely. I have 3 of them. I have an interpretive dance about the minimum wage. I have an interpretive dance. Oh God, man, it is so good. I have an alternative YouTube site. And it's devoted just to this. It's a 17-minute, it's really moving, and it's all about the impacts of overregulation on minorities and undereducated.
You know what? You do these YouTube vids on your channel. I believe at least within 48 hours, I think both of those should be up.
Well, here's the problem, is that I have a sponsorship. There's a little, let's just call it, it's an athletic wear studio here in Southern California in Venice, and it's mostly hemp. Obviously, it's all natural fabric. And they do not like to have any of my interpretive dance stuff. It's part of the terms of the sponsorship agreement. I'm not allowed to have any sort of words or audio videos associated with the interpretive dance stuff. So strictly speaking, the sponsorship they have and the contract expressly forbids any kind of videos like the political ones that I do for IJR and stuff.
Right. So even if you did some left-wing loon stuff, they would not like that either.
No, because it's spoken vocabulary. Their insistence is communication via body movement.
Ah. See.
Well, hey, you know what, Miller? I think this little insight behind the curtain should perhaps draw to a close, and then we should resume the show, because I believe we're still being broadcast live here. I'm not sure. Somehow some wrinkle in time has occurred, and our Jessica is
incognito.
Yeah, or maybe she's fallen and she can't get up. I know you have got one of those little things you wear around your neck. You press the button and it warns family members.
I do. Yeah, I actually do.
That's so funny, man. I every once in a while, you get all these nonsense emails for all this stuff, and I signed my dad up for to be on an email list for one of those stair lifts.
Yeah.
Also,
now, were you pimping him, or was it legit?
Oh no, it was total bullshit. One of those stair lifts, another one about incontinence. And it took him, I mean, he was getting phone calls a couple of times a day for weeks. Well, Mr. Howsam, we understand that you showed interest in our adult incontinence. And it took him a while. He just didn't know how his name got on there, and he's like, oh, wait a second. I've met my oldest kid, and he calls me up and he goes, "Dude, I'm so pissed off at you because you gave him my cell phone number."
How did he figure out it was you?
He just guessed. He called up. He goes, I'm getting all of these phone calls.
You wouldn't know anything about it, would you?
You wouldn't know anything about it, would you? Oh God, it just killed me, man. It was so funny.
That is pretty hilarious. Let's talk about it. We've been talking about obviously Paris and whatever, but you and I kind of both into